Welcome to 5 Points of Articulation, where I review action figures and then articulate 5 points to help you decide if you want to add that figure to your collection. The 5 points I discuss are packaging, presentation, posability, playability, and price. I'm Jason, and if you enjoy my content, please like, share, subscribe, do all the YouTube rigmarole. Today, we're taking a look at the infamous John Walker, better known as US Agent, from the all-new Marvel Legends Controller Wave. Starting off with the packaging, and it's the same wonderful window box we looked at with Thor. Marvel US Agent down here. Surprisingly, a whole lot of nothing up top. Weird that they didn't give him any Captain America or West Coast Avengers branding. Some smug key art on the side, and that same smug key art on the back. I mean, at least I think there's a shady glint in his eye. Originally appointed by the US government to replace Steve Rogers as Captain America, US Agent John Walker must balance his moral compass against his duty to his country. The Build-A-Figure for the Wave is Controller. We've already looked at Iron Man and Thor, but other figures include Blue Marvel, Madam Hydra, Speedball, and Quake. Also, for those who want it, here's the barcode. One thing I do like about this box is it leaves it somewhat ambiguous as to whether or not US Agent is friend or foe. And depending on your preferred run of the comics, chances are you'll be doing the same thing. This face might make that a little bit hard though. Either way, for packaging, I'm giving US Agent 1 whole point. Moving on to presentation, US Agent stands at 6.5 inches. I can't be 100% certain because I don't have it, but I'm pretty sure this is just a repaint of Capwolf. I even think it's the same head. If so, I think this does make for a better US Agent than Captain America. Assuming I am right and that this is Capwolf, I never did like this face for Steve. Just seems too mean and thuggish. 5 minutes later. Okay, you know what? I just had to see for myself. A local toy shop had this, and I've had my eye on it for a while, especially with spooky season coming, so I decided what the hey. Looking at the head, there are some minor differences. Mainly, Steve has eyebrows and a sculpted on A, but otherwise they're the exact same figure. But Jason, I hear you say, what about the belt? The buckle is clearly facing the opposite direction. Yeah, you know what? I don't know how they pulled that off. The thing about US Agent is he isn't a villain exactly. He's a person who wants to serve his country and do the right thing, but he also struggles with crippling rage issues. This face honestly feels really appropriate for that. A little bit of paint slop around the right eye, unfortunately. US Agent is distinct for his red, white, and black motif. Black star up there. A little bit more paint slop, and I can't be sure, but I feel like the belt loop should be black. So I googled some comic art because it's been a while, and apparently he actually is supposed to have a solid red belt with no loops at all. So they were still being lazy, just, in a different way. Otherwise, he has a typical Captain America style gloves, and also boots. Flipping him around, and he has a big white star, and a peg hole for the shield. Since US Agent was basically just a repaint of Captain America in the comics, it makes sense he'd be a repaint of him in action figure form. I do think enough time has passed since the Capwolf release to make this acceptable. That said, if they were going to resculpt Captain America's head to get rid of the A, why didn't they just give him an all-new sculpt to begin with? For presentation, I'm giving US Agent 0.5 point. Moving on to posability, and while this body might be familiar for some of you, it's new to me. From the top in John's head's and a ball joint and a disc hinge. You can look up this far. You can really bury the chin, and that's a lot of chin to bury. No tilt to speak of, and all the way around. Moving on down, he has swivel hinge shoulders that raise just under 90 degrees, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and swivel hinge wrists. They hinge up this much and down this much. Shifting to the torso, and he has an ab crunch and a waist swivel. He can arch back this far and hunch forward this far. Side note, I appreciate just how well the stripes line up. And of course, he can swivel. Below that swivel, and John Walker has ball-jointed hips. They kick forward just over 90 degrees and split this far. Traversing down the leg, and he has thigh cut, double-jointed knees, boot cut, and Marvel Legends ankles that can hinge and pivot. One thing you can't fault this figure for is articulation. Whether rushing into battle or delivering roundhouse kicks, this super soldier has all the range you could possibly need. For posability, I'm giving US Agent 1 whole point. Moving on to playability, and US Agent comes with a shield, perfect for protecting him from the consequences of his actions. I honestly never really understood this shield. There's no blue on the costume, so why does it have blue here? It's actually cast in that blue plastic, and has been painted pretty well. It clips onto his wrist like so, or you can peg it to his back. John comes preloaded with a pair of fists, and we all know how much he likes to use those. He also comes with this hand for reaching the salt, and also a weapon holding hand. If you're worried about clipping the shield onto his wrist, you can always have him do this. One thing he doesn't come with, unfortunately, is an alternate head. Of course, if you have the 20th anniversary cap, you can always use that one. Of course, this is the controller wave, so we do have some controller Build-A-Figure pieces. Specifically his right arm. It's been cast in a periwinkle plastic, but does actually have some painted on highlights. The gauntlet's been cast in a midnight blue marbleized plastic, and in his grip are some of his controller discs. Well, that or the propellers for a drone. He also comes with an alternate fist. But playability is more than just accessories. It's also about how well your figure plays with others. For some other caps in my collection, and here we have 80 years. Here we have the 20th anniversary version. They have the same legs and forearms. Here we have Capwolf. I'll be unboxing him in his own separate video. Here we have Avengers Endgame Steve from the Captain America 2-pack. And here we have Sam from the 2-pack. Lastly, here we have Zombie Captain America from What If. For the other main Avengers, and here we have Thor, the 80 years Incredible Hulk, and the 80 years Iron Man. Here we have the 90s style modular suit Iron Man, and here we have the Silver Centurion bringing us to West Coast Avengers. Here we have the Scarlet Witch, White Vision, the Retro Card Tigra, and War Machine. These two were significant for having taken up the mantle of a hero, in War Machine's case Iron Man, and there was once a very important story with both of them and Ragnarok, who had taken up the mantle of Thor. For Captain America's most diabolical villain, here he is with the Red Skull, and here he is with Julie Carpenter's Spider-Woman. In the comics, he nearly killed her, which is what made him stop to realize how much his anger had gotten out of control. For a Raldo scale comparison, here's US Agent with Pizza Spidey and the Spectacular Spider-Man, and as always, here he is with Stealth Iron Man. As an adversary for Captain America, as well as a member of the Avengers, West Coast Avengers, Force Works, and others, there are plenty of spots where you can fit this guy in your collection. I personally have been looking forward to him for my West Coast Avengers. And while I'll always say the more accessories the better, I'm pretty happy with what he came with. For playability, I'm giving US Agent 1 whole point. This leaves us with nothing left to discuss but the price. I pre-ordered my US Agent online, so I paid the full $24.99 plus shipping. Having just reviewed the new Thor figure from this wave, which was a completely new figure, had lots of accessories, and was just $22.99, I can't help but feel that this simple repaint is simply too much. For price, I'm giving US Agent half a point for a grand total of 4 out of 5. For more Captain America, check out this Halloween video on the zombie version, or for more West Coast Avengers, check out this video on Tigra. How do you feel about US Agent, and where does he go in your collection? Sound off in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back again real soon, but until then, play nice and have fun.